Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video we're going to be looking at heavy metal horror movies. So these are all horror movies which predominantly have heavy metal as part of their theme, or they have an awesome heavy metal soundtrack running through them. So of course we're all horror fans here on this channel, but I talk to a lot of people who, like myself, are fans of heavy metal and rock music, and I thought this would be a cool crossover and a good way to highlight some of the movies that that kind of have both of those themes in them. So the first movie I'm going to talk about is Black Roses. This is a really awesome movie from the 80s. It's one that I've only just recently seen myself. It was a recommendation from the Wacky World Lounge, and it definitely didn't disappoint. So this is a really cool film about a heavy metal band called the Black Roses, who are a devil worshipping rock band, and they come to this sleepy little town to play a few gigs. The parents and things like that are all concerned that the heavy metal is going to destroy the youth, but they manage to convince everyone that they're a wholesome band. But of course, when the young people and the kids go to the concert, they are kind of possessed by the music, and it drives them to kill off parents and teachers and their elders and things like that. But it's so much fun. Also, the music summons these demon creatures as well throughout the film that appear, and they're all like latex and rubber creatures which look awesome if you're someone like me that enjoys that kind of thing. And then there's a really cool kind of face off at the end between one of the grown-ups of the town and the front man of the Black Roses, and he turns into this like demon creature. It's so cool. So if you like your cheesy 80s horror films and you like heavy metal rock music, definitely check out Black Roses. It's got a lot going for it in those two areas, and it's one that I really enjoyed. So yeah, Black Roses is the first one. The next movie is Demons. So a big favourite from my childhood. It's one that I talk about a lot on this channel, and I know it's popular amongst most people that watch me. But what I love about Demons is just the kind of the randomness of it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's just lots of really cool stuff thrown in to make an awesome 80s horror movie. So cinema goers are randomly attacked by these bloodthirsty demon creatures in this cinema, and it's just a crazy mix of violence, gore, special effects, and crazy demons running around getting in people's faces. All the while it's accompanied by an awesome heavy metal rock and roll soundtrack. You've got music in this from Billy Idol, Saxon, Scorpions, some Go West in this, Accept, a bit of music from them. So a really good array of 80s rock music accompanying this one. It's such an awesome film. I know most people are familiar with Demons, so I don't need to tell too many of you, but definitely a recommendation for great horror and an awesome rock and roll soundtrack. Okay, next up is Demons 2. Pretty much the same deal really. This is just, it all takes place in an apartment complex rather than a cinema, but you've still got the crazy violence and gore, you've still got the demons running around tearing into people, and again you've got the awesome heavy metal soundtrack. And most notable in this one for me is a scene which is one of my favourite scenes in all of horror, and that is where Sally, the girl that's hosting the party, she turns into a demon while they play Rain by the Cult. So as a big fan of the Cult and a huge fan of horror movies, that like it doesn't get much cooler than seeing a demonic transformation while they play one of my favourite Cult songs. So that was absolutely awesome, and again, great movie, great 80s horror film. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay, next up, another very underrated film, I think, The Devil's Candy. So This is about a family. They move into a house and they are big heavy metal fans. They're all rockers, especially the man of the house, the dad, the husband. He is really got rock pulsing through his veins, and heavy metal isn't kind of part of the story. It just seems they put as many heavy metal references in it just to be cool. I don't know. In the story, there's some weird stuff going on, and a previous owner of the house is still kind of hanging around and stalking them and that kind of thing. There's some quite cryptic things in this movie. It's really creepy, but really, really good. It's a very well made film, and I really appreciate the heavy metal music and references that accompany it. It's a really good mix. The end credits were very notable for me. They played my favourite Metallica song, For Whom the Bell Tolls. That plays over the end credits, so really, really great end to the film, and just a really good film overall. I don't hear many people talk about this film, and I think it deserves to be more well known, because whether you appreciate the heavy metal or not, it's a really good movie that more people should see. So that is The Devil's Candy. Okay, next up is Rock and Roll Nightmare. Haven't seen this for years, but couldn't leave this off the list. So this is John Michael Thor. He has a rock band. They go away to like this secluded cabin to write some rock music, and they end up summoning some really fake looking rubber monster demons. Like I say, it's been a long time since I watched this. I didn't think it was all that great, to be honest. However, I'm always going to be a fan of just this kind of movie anyway. If you're going to make a horror film about a heavy metal band summoning demons, then I will be a fan of it on some level anyway. So although the film wasn't great, as a package, I just love this kind of thing. So I do still have an affinity for this movie, even though it wasn't that great and I haven't seen it for such a long time. In terms of the music, I wasn't familiar with any of the music that was in it, but it was really cool. As soon as the band started playing, it was really cool rock music that I enjoyed listening to, and it was a really good accompaniment to the film. To be honest, the music is probably the best thing in Rock and Roll Nightmare, because it is a bit shoddy in places. But like I say, I have an affinity for these kind of films, so it's always kind of alright in my book anyway. But yeah, cool stuff. Okay, next up is Shock 'Em Dead. So this follows this rock band, and they have a guitar player, and he is like the world's greatest guitar player. He's insanely good. He gets the band all their success, and they keep getting more and more popular. But the catch is he's made a pact with the devil to play so well, and as things go on, the devilry starts to get amped up, and I think he starts to have these green glowing eyes, and he starts to turn more and more evil as the film goes on. It's a cool movie. Another good example of 80s horror film, and the music was cool as well. So definitely wanted to include this one on the list. Right, the next one is, I only have this on video actually. I'm going retro with this with a big box VHS, and that is Trick or Treat. So yeah, they're a very popular film, but you really don't see this on DVD or Blu-ray very much, hardly at all. So still got the old VHS. This is really cool. This is about this rock fan. He accidentally summons this demon through the rock music that he plays, and if I remember right, there's a concert towards the end of the movie, and this kid uses the demonic monsters and creatures to take revenge on some of the people that have wronged him. I think that's what happens. It has been years and years since I've watched this. I mean, you can see I've still got the video, so that's how long it's been since I watched Trick or Treat. Most notable for me for the Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons cameos. The Ozzy Osbourne one is fantastic. He's like this kind of do-gooder that's preaching about how evil rock and roll is and how it's going to take over everyone. So very funny cameo for Ozzy Osbourne. I didn't actually recognise him when I first saw it. It wasn't until he had been on the screen for a bit that I realised it was Ozzy Osbourne. He looks so different in this film, but really cool VHS artwork as well there, guys. So yeah, highly recommend Trick or Treat. Again, I think this is quite popular in the in the groups that I talk to. So yeah, it'd be nice to get a nice Blu-ray release of this. So yeah, Trick or Treat. And the last movie is Welcome to Spring Break, which has got a mind of its own. Stay. Welcome to Spring Break. Now, when I first got this movie was unheard of. I didn't know anyone that had seen this. It's now been re-released as Nightmare Beach, which is a really cool title, and it seems more and more people are watching this, and I'm hearing some good reviews of it, which is really cool because I think it's a really underrated slasher movie. So it takes place at the beach around spring break, so lots of teenagers partying and things like that. But there is a motorcycle helmet wearing killer going around killing people. So just as a slasher film, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. John Saxon's in it. But also it has an awesome heavy metal soundtrack accompanying the scenes throughout the film. I didn't know that it was that kind of film, but just I remember the first time watching it, I vividly remember being really impressed and almost wanting to rock out by the heavy metal that was playing over like the partying scenes and things like that. It was really cool. So definitely wanted to include this one. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. That's just a few movies that I think use heavy metal really well and are enjoyable movies. Let me know if there's any films out there that you know that you consider to be heavy metal horror films. I'd love to hear what they are, see if I've got them, and if not, I'll look into them. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.